Hello and welcome to this, the first of two sequences on measurement platforms. We'll start in this sequence by giving an overview of measurement platforms and talking about a few of them. And in the next sequence, we'll talk about the Planet Lab Europe platform that we make available to you through this course. So when you or I try to make network measurements, we have a problem, which is that we are restricted in the number of vantage points from which we can make those measurements. We might be able to make some measurements from home, from work, perhaps with our mobile device connected to the mobile phone network, or perhaps when we connect to Wi-Fi hotspots. But it still remains quite limited, and in many of these contexts, we have a problem of firewalls that prevent us from making all of the measurements that we would like to make. So the solution to this type of problem faced by scientists for a long time is the creation of measurement platforms that have many, many vantage points around the world, or that connect to many points around the world to collect the information that is needed. We'll talk here about four platforms that are examples. There are many platforms out there, but we've chosen these because all four of them offer some type of access to the public at large. We'll start with Measurement Lab. Measurement Lab has nearly 100 servers located around the world. These host tools that have been created by scientists for making specialized network measurements. And they have the particularity that anyone can make use of those tools. So for instance, they have a tool for testing the bandwidth that you receive through your internet service provider. And you can download the software and connect to Measurement Lab and test that bandwidth. The methods that are used for these tools are open and published, so anyone can know how these measurements are being done. And the results are also made available. Of course, if there's information relating to particular individuals, that is anonymized before the data is published. And in doing things in this way, Measurement Lab aims to make their platform a fair and rigorous platform, and perceived that way by policymakers, so that it can help shape public policy. Reports are written with their results, and the aim is that everyone be able to accept those results and use them as the basis for discussing public policy around the internet. The second platform we'll talk about is RIPE Atlas. This is run by the RIPE Network Coordination Center, which is the Network Coordination Center for Europe. And they take a crowdsourcing approach. So they have small dongles, which you see an example of here. You connect them via USB to power, and then you plug in Ethernet to get Ethernet connectivity, so you can request a dongle and plug one of these in at home. And then they start continuously conducting measurements. They run background measurements, pings and trace routes, and there are nearly 10,000 such dongles deployed today. So you can imagine it's very widely spread, mostly in Europe, but also in other parts of the world. And if you obtain a dongle and you're providing then network measurements to the system, this also gives you the right to conduct some of your own measurements from the totality of the dongles out there. The third platform that we'll look at now is called Looking Glass. This is a bit unusual in that it's not a centrally controlled platform. Instead, it is software. Software is called Multi-Router Looking Glass, MRLG. It was written by John Fraser in 2000, and it's maintained today. And it runs on routers, and it allows one to query the router for its BGP information, and also to run pings and trace routes from that router. Now, some of these are just, they're deployed in many thousands of routers worldwide, and some purely for the network administrators who run those routers. But many of them are also open and available to the outside world. So you or I can connect and run pings and traceroutes, request the BGP information. There are a number of websites that provide front ends listing Looking Glass routers. One of them is run by the Packet Clearinghouse. We provide the URL here. Packet Clearinghouse is a not-for-profit institution that is concerned with measurements and understanding the internet. And so you can connect there, and they provide a front end that allows you to run Looking Glass measurements on a large number of Looking Glass servers. Finally, I group these together as a single platform, but they really are two platforms, Oregon Route Views and RIPE Routing Information Service. But they provide largely the same service, which is both of these platforms peer with BGP routers of internet service providers and other network operators that agree to provide feeds, provide BGP updates from their routers. So there's a peering that's established with those routers, and they get all of the BGP updates, and so they can get information on how the BGP updates look from many different parts of the world. The Oregon Route Views is running at any time nearly 500 sessions with routers in over 200 autonomous systems, and RIPE is running between 30 and 40 sessions at any given time. And all the data collected in this way is made freely available. You or I can look at it. So this wraps up our overview of measurement platforms. As I say, there are many others, and I apologize for any that could have been included in this list that haven't been. And we'll go in the next sequence to look at the platform that we're using in this course, Planet Lab Europe.